guys, it's Ben with Accura Outdoors, and today we're going to talk about range brass and brass inspection. One of the things to help with the aid and cost of reloading is we try to get range brass or once fired, and kind of quickly going over that. Technically you can reload any type of case. Optimally you want brass material bullet casing. Also, we call it brass. The second from that would be nickel plated brass. The benefits of it is it's a little more corrosion resistance, and it's a little bit better for carry, but also it's basically just brass with nickel plate or nickel covering on it, so it is also a good option. Next would be two that I don't, one that I don't have. One of them is aluminum. The material in it is not as good as brass, and it's not going to reload as well. There are some people who do try to reload aluminum for cost. Aluminum by itself already is really cheap. You may get one or two reloads out of it before it starts breaking. So, not saying that you can't, but it's not always the best idea, especially the cost of each piece is really cheap. So definitely I don't think you're really going to see that much cost savings if you go to that. Another one we don't have, I was trying to look for, is steel cased bullet casing. With that, the only thing is you can reload it. It's really hard on your dies, and it's going to be a lot more work. So again, a lot of it goes back to just brass material. There's one that you need to make sure you watch out for, and it is brass coated steel. It's a steel material with a brass wash on it, so that way, you know, it's a little more corrosion resistant. You know, it's definitely something you want to, you know, scrape off. Maybe take your knife and do a little scrape if you have any doubts. You're gonna mainly see that with, you know, 223, maybe some 308, you know, military stuff, or NATO. But you can stick with either nickel plated brass or regular brass. You're gonna have a lot less less issues. So one of the things, and I don't have a good example, but we'll use this brass. So one of the things when you're inspecting your brass is case separation, and what this is from is too much pressure. And this one you can, and I don't think it's from it, but you can almost see this little kind of difference in it. What happens is it'll actually build up pressure and start cracking along this way. So if you see any signs of that, definitely just, you know, crimp the brass and throw it away, or recycle it, or do whatever you're gonna do. But excessive pressure is another one. You're going to see that usually on the back side of the head stamp. You're gonna see cratering in your primers. Sometimes if it's too much, it actually will poke through. Or if you look on your head stamp, you'll see from the injection marks. So check your brass, make sure, you know, especially if you're doing reloads, you can see, you know, how much pressure you're putting out. So the split case neck, this one actually has it. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but there's a little crack right here, and this can happen over multiple reloads. Some brass reload better. I know annealing sometimes can help with a step down neck like this. Straight wall, you're not going to see. Dented brass, so we have some dented brass. This one's kind of got, you know, some funkiness to it. This is kind of extreme, it's squished. I don't know if we've got any other ones that are actually dented. We have some small dents, but again, structural integrity, denting in the brass actually can deform it, so you might, you know, have ridges in it that'll stick in your chamber. They may not feed right. Maybe it creates a soft spot and then it actually cracks the brass. So, you know, check that out. That's definitely an easy visual check. Corrosion. This one kind of depends where you're, if you're getting range brass. We have a couple public ranges that it's not as cleaned up as often, so you might be able to see more. We live in the great state of Idaho, so it's not as wet as some other places, not as humid. So stuff that's out may not corrode as fast. You might get light corrosion, this is mainly carbon, but you'll get it where it'll discolor a little bit. If you can kind of rub on it and it comes right off, you might be okay with it. But if it's starts to pit, again, it's not worth it. Your best bet is maybe walk around, people are shooting, ask if you can pick up their brass if you're looking to get range brass. But yeah, a lot of it, if it's got some starts pitting or you got some excessive corrosion, definitely just toss it out. And that's kind of the things that we recommend for reloading. One of the things that you might have an oddball like this one. This is from Shell Shock. This is a 2-part. So, and I'm probably gonna get this wrong, but I believe the back is steel and the front is aluminum, or vice versa. But the way that these are designed, they can actually be reloaded many times. I've heard like 80 times. I don't know how accurate that is, but I've heard some pretty crazy numbers that you can reload this more than you can do brass. Brass you can easily get 8 or 9 depending on what you're doing, but good option. So that is kind of our brass inspection. So if you're out there looking, definitely be cautious. Some good places to get brass is go to your indoor range. Ask if you can buy off some of their brass they just sweep up. Public ranges, shooting matches, those are definitely good places to go. But because it's free doesn't mean it's always good. So be cautious with that, with your firearm that you spent so much money on, and you may explode because you want to save 10 cents. So stay safe, and I'll see you on the range.